Today's countdown, week 6. The 6th time we're going through this process. Let's start with some FCAT questions from past FCAT tests. Number 1, what is the value of that expression? Start with Adriana, Savannah, David, and then Alexis.
84.
Okay.
84.
Okay.
I got -260.
Okay.
84.
Okay. So we seem to have some consensus, but we have some dissenting opinion. Cameron?
84.
Okay. Overwhelmingly 84, and the correct answer is 84. Number 2, what is the value of that expression with those values? Start with Cameron, Stephen, DeAndre, and then Wayne.
-50.
Okay,
-50.
you agree. Okay, 100. So we have a split decision. We have some people think -50, some people think 100. Natalie, what do you think? You think -50, Annabelle? -50 seem to be slanted towards the -50. Answer is -50. What is the solution of that horrible equation right there? We will start with Savannah this time and go to Annabelle and Angela.
9.7x equals 19.7.
Okay. Okay.
X
Okay, so we do have some disagreement. Chelsea? X equals 2 seems to be the more majority opinion. X equals 2.
I actually had.
Yeah, it just sounds like you didn't finish.
I was wondering if you're supposed to do
When you're asked for a solution, I'm asking you for the value of X that would make this true. So I'm looking for a number that makes it true. All right, and number 4, what is the area of the image? This time we'll start with David, and then Adriana, and then Kiara.
6.75.
So you agree, okay?
I got
144, so we have some disagreement. Catalina?
6.75 square inches.
Seem to be leaning more towards that. What did you think, DeAndre?
I think it was 72 square inches.
Okay, so we do have some dissenting opinions. Cameron?
6.75 square inches.
It is 6.75 square inches. So let us start with number 1. Gotta be honest with you, you guys did a phenomenal job. I did this question wrong myself, so I don't blame anybody for getting it wrong. But let's find out how to do it correctly and find out where you messed up. So let's go step by step. What's the first thing you need to do, Wayne?
Parentheses.
And in this case, it's
1
good. So you have to start with this. Excuse me. You have to start with this right here. And what is the value of that? What's the value of that? Here's the first mistake that a few people made. What's the value of that, Annabelle? Very good. It is -24. So this is -24. We're putting parentheses around it now only because it's a negative number. Now bring down the rest. 3 times and then 12 minus. What must be done next? Natalie?
3 times
So there's 2 different approaches. You can either do 3 times -24 and then whatever value you get, subtract it from 12. Or you could, if you wanted to, view this as 12. Excuse me. Let me see if I can get it. Nope, not going to let me do it. You can see this as 12 plus -3 times -24. There's 2 different ways to view it. It's really up to the way you and your mind and how you've decided. So let's stick with what Natalie said, and we'll do 3 times -24. Natalie, what did you get? -72. Let me continue up here, which means we are now here. How do we do that? That looks really bizarre. How do we take care of 12 minus -72? Any? Keep, change, change. I was joking. It doesn't look bizarre at all. It looks totally normal at this point. Keep, change, 12 plus 72, 84.
I got the right answer, but I did a different one.
And that was excellent. You can do distributive property here. You can. Excellent job. It's a little bit harder, but that's great. You also, not only was it harder, but you demonstrated a higher level of knowledge. Very good. I would consider number 2 an easy question, so we're not going to take any time on that. Let's go to number 3. I'm going to do the first step. And now I need some help on what's going to come after that. After I draw my T, what will we do? Tristan? Yeah, good job. And which one is that? Well, yeah. So you should be focused, and this is how we spoke a long time ago. You should be focused right there because that is the smaller coefficient. And now we do the inverse of that. The inverse is add 1.8x. And we do that to both sides. And we put it right underneath the other x term because x's can get added together. This then disappears, and now we add down. This becomes 10x plus 1.5 equals 21.5. Could I have a volunteer who's operating at a high level today tell me how many steps we have left? How many steps do we have left, Stephen? 2. It's a 2-step equation, and I feel strongly in saying that my students in this room right now should feel extremely comfortable. Jedi Master level of 2-step equations. What's the next thing we need to do? David?
Well, what you do is that you turn 1.5 and you add negative 1.5 to both sides.
Okay, well, you're saying kind of the right thing, but the way you said it is a little misleading, and if someone were listening to you for the first time, would get very confused. We're not turning anything into anything else. When you solve an equation, you're not doing that. Okay, essence? Yeah, we're subtracting 1.5 because we're doing the inverse operation. That's going to get rid of that, and now we're left with 10x on the left, and we're left with 20 on the right. My high-level students, which in this room is pretty much everybody, you don't even need to do the last step. 10 times what number is 20? X is 2. Any comments, questions, concerns on number 3? Annabelle, Catalina? You sure? Okay, Catalina and then Savannah.
I didn't solve it I did use the T, but I didn't do it in the order.
Now, you can actually do it in a number of different orders and still get the right answer. Did you get the right answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, starting where I asked you to start is a suggested place to start. It is not the only place to start. You could actually subtract 8.2x from both sides. You could subtract 1.5 from both sides first. If you really want to do, you could subtract 21.5 from both sides. I think there's 3 or 4 different ways to start. Okay? It's just a matter of which way is the easiest. Okay? This way will definitely work out the easiest, but it's only a little bit easier. So your way was probably just as good. Okay?
I thought it was a difficult question, so I did it a different way, but then I realized I was like,
Okay. Well, I knew when you said presented your answer that you had gotten a little confused somewhere, but
the first part I did right. I did
Good.
that, and then I did
now, but this is reaching back from like 5 months ago. So it's expected that some of my students will not be super sure. But now you've seen it. Now you can move forward and be sure next time, okay? That's the idea. Any comments, questions? Okay, for number 4, give me a thumbs up if you drew a picture. Number 4, give me a thumbs up if you drew a picture. Oh, just a few of you? I thought it was more people than that. Okay, good. If you drew a picture, then you should be extra proud of yourself, and I am extra proud of you. I've already explained to you guys that scientists and educators have done studies that students who write and make notes and elaborate on drawings in the FCAT workbook do better on the test. So drawing something is an example of that. So here's what I would have drawn to make this clear to myself. I would have drawn the painting. There's the painting. The painting is 24 by 18 inches. Now this is very common for artists to do. Give me a thumbs up if you're one of my artists. Good. Put your thumbs down. So as you get older and you're in high school and you're taking art courses, I don't know for certain, but I imagine that they're going to start having you make a digital portfolio of your works. And so if you do an oil painting, if you paint something on a canvas this big using oil paints, you do that once. There's no way to duplicate it. It's a work of art. But if you want to present that to people with technology now, you take your nice high quality camera, you put the picture within the frame of the screen on the camera so that it's a perfect picture, and then you shoot the picture. Now you have a shareable copy of your work of art. This can be any kind of work of art. This can be a painting, this can be a design for some clothing that you did for some sort of design class, fashion class. It can be anything that you design, okay? But what you have to understand is that once you take that photograph, you actually did something important mathematically. Does anyone know what concept is illustrated in this question? There's a major math concept illustrated in this question, but it doesn't say it. Only one person knows. 3 people have an idea. Cameron?
Similar figures?
Similar figures. Once you take that painting and you frame it up in the camera so that it shows up perfectly in that little screen, you are by definition creating a similar picture. And so here's what has happened, is that we have this exact same rectangle but much smaller. And so this becomes, as I said, a shareable copy of your picture. You can post it on a website, in a digital portfolio, in a database, and a lot of different things. So we've taken a photograph of it. The digital image is 3 inches long. So now this is 3. We are not told this measurement. What is that measurement? What does it come out to? Well, there was a whole bunch of people who got the question right, so there's a whole bunch of you who should know the measurement. Nolly? Yeah, it comes out to 2.25. So this measurement is 2.25. So how come that's not the answer? The answer is 6.75 square inches. I just did a whole bunch of work. Why didn't I get the answer? Catalina?
Because you're finding the areas, you need to multiply them.
Oh, I wasn't asked for that measurement. I was asked for the area. And so we have to now multiply this times this, and that is where we get 6.75. Any comments or questions about that? Kiara? Could someone tell us how we got to 2.25? Annabelle, you had been waiting. How did we get that? Okay, well, I'll let you. Go ahead.
Because you times 2.25 times 3. Wait,
No, she's asking how did we get this?
Oh, because 3 divided by 24 is 8, and then 24 divided by 3 is 8, and then 18 divided by 8 is 2.25.
That's right. So the relationship from here to here is that this number is divided by 8. So now you take the 18 and divide by 8, and that's where you get the 2.25. And then you multiply this times this to get the area of the figure, and then you would also been waiting.
I think I'm going to go to
Okay, so I'll help you in a second. That's fine. Okay. Any other comments, questions about this? Did I answer your question? Okay, put the warm-up to the side. All right, so you guys have been doing a good job of keeping the packets intact. Take one copy, pass the rest behind you. So as you already know, today is countdown week 6. So everyone turn to week 6 and find day 26. Day 26. As you already know, you're going to be doing 5 questions in 10 minutes. In this set of questions, you will need the reference sheet. The reference sheet is the first page of the packet. Remember that all the pages look very similar, so please be careful when you turn back to page 26. Make sure you're turning back to the correct page. Anyone have any questions about what you're going to do? 5 questions in 10 minutes. Go ahead and begin. All right. Colored pens up, pencils down on your desk. We're going to grade the questions and get an overall percent. But remember, this first set, your overall score doesn't matter. What matters is what we do afterwards. Here we go. Number 1, $3.75. Number 2 is 13 centimeters. Number 3 is A. Number 4 is 3. And number 5 is H. Calculate your percent, which is mental math at this point. But I will not be surveying the class for that percent. I'm going to survey 3 of the questions for now. So, now your job is to try and improve. So, let's look at number 1 first. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 1 correct. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put your thumbs down. Very good. So, let's go through step by step. Cameron, what's the first thing you did? Hold on, you found 50% of? Very good. Watch how I write this, ladies and gentlemen. 50% of 10. And what is 50% of 10, Cameron? 5. So that represents the amount of money that gets taken off. because a discount is money that's taken off. So 50% of 5 is 5, but we're starting with $10, and now we're going to subtract that discount, and now it costs $5. Very good. Give me a thumbs up if you did something similar to that somewhere within your work. Good. Put your thumbs down. Stephen, what'd you do next?
Then did 25% off.
That's right. An additional 25%. I love how you said off. Very good. Did you get the second part of this correct, or you weren't sure what to do?
No, I didn't.
Good. So what did you do?
So then I did the fraction was the so original and new. So the original was yeah. So then the original was 5, and then I did 25.
Okay. So that's not original and new. That's just finding percent of a number. But very good. So let me translate for everyone. So now you found 25% of this number, 5, because that's where we're at right now. We're here. And what was 25% of 5? No, 25% of 5 was not 3.75. That was the answer, but 25% of it is not 3.75.
Oh, it's 5. It's 25% over 100. It's equal to 5. X over 1.
That's right. And when you calculate that, what do you get? You don't get 3.75. So you did another step to get that. Wayne, what does it come out to?
$1.25.
Yeah, it comes out to 1.25. That's the discount. That's the amount of money that's going to get taken off. So we're at $5. Now we have to subtract $1.25 because that's the second discount that is happening. And then we are left with the final price, which is $3.75. Now, when we were learning how to do these types of questions, I encouraged my students to look for patterns and shortcuts, and there's a lot of different ways to work through this. In fact, I can work through this in like 30 seconds, okay? And as I've told you many times before, you guys, for the most part, are much smarter than I am. It's just I have experience on my side. So I can get to the 375 very easily, okay?
Wait.
So, anyone have anything else that they did differently to get the answer? So, we'll go to Adrian.
Well, after I did the 10, like 50%, like that I got the same. But then I went, like, I remember you taught me how to use the percentage of the calculator.
Great.
So I did 5 minus 25 minutes.
Right. So, if you use your calculator creatively, you can save yourself a lot of effort. So, what did you push again?
I did 5 minus 25, and I just pushed the.
That's right. So 5 is the starting point, minus 25%. If you push 2, 5, and then the percent key on your calculator, it will figure out 25% of 5, and then it will subtract it for you. And we'll do it differently. Okay?
When I found the 50% of 10, instead of doing 25% 5, I did 25% 10. I added the number up that I got, and then subtracted that percent.
But that doesn't work. 25% of 10 is what?
25% of 10 is 2.50.
Yeah.
And I had 5, and 2.50. And then I did 10 minus, then I'm like,
It doesn't come out. It comes out to 250.
something like that.
Okay. Well, you try to go back and see what you did. There is something else you can do. There's quite a few other things you can do, but what you just described doesn't work. And that's actually a major point. Is that, are you allowed to add the percents together and then do it that way? Can you just take 75% off of $10? Then you end up with $2.50. You get the wrong answer. Let me illustrate it a different way. You cannot add percents together. Let me show you why. What if it was a 50% discount and then the second time was another 50% discount? If you added those together, what percent would you get? Savannah? 100%. So that would be 100% discount, and now all of a sudden it's free? That's what it means, right? 100% discount would be free. But that's not the way it works. 50% of 10 is 5. 50% of the result, 50% of the 5 is 250. So if we got a 50% discount and then another 50% discount, it would cost $2.50. So you cannot add the percents together. That is not the way percents work. You have to be very careful about that, okay? Comments, questions, concerns? Okay, let's go to number 2. I feel strongly in saying that everybody in the room should have got number 2 correct, but let's find out. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 2. Okay, so it was definitely a lot of people. Good. Tristan, what was your answer to number 2? No, I just wanted to know what your answer was. Okay. Okay, so let me be clear about a couple of things. Skipping questions is not allowed at all. First of all, it's never been allowed. But now we're in crunch time. FCAT is 1 week away. A week from Wednesday, and there's no school on Friday, and there's basically not much going on Thursday. So that's 2 days gone. So that means in 1 week you have the FCAT. There's no such thing as skipping anything. And just to be clear, IDK is not an option. So now, here is the question, but now watch when I draw my own version of it. Draw your own version of the picture. And so now, when I fill in some of the basic information, such as the 24 and the 39 and the 8 and the H, what type of question does this look like? Tatiana? Yeah. Cameron, you said another word earlier during the warm-up.
Similar figures.
Similar figures. These are similar figures because it says it in the question. This magical guy named Ramsey wants the label to be similar to the front of the box. And so now we have a proportional situation. We have a couple of different things you could do. 24 divided by 3, just like Annabelle said earlier with a different question. 24 divided by 3 is 8, so 39 divided by 3 is 13. Or you can write it as the actual proportion. 39 over 24 equals x over 8, and solve the proportion. Either way, it will work. Okay, so any comments, questions on number 2? Okay, and now I want to skip, wait, what did I do? Number 4. So we're skipping to number 4. Give me a thumbs up if you got number 4 correct. Put your thumbs down. Way too many people didn't get this question. Now, could someone tell us basically what's going on in this question? Like, what's the basic idea, Nolly? Conversion. Good. You're converting between what and what?
Well, we're trying to get the cups into gallons.
Very good. So if everyone will turn to their reference sheet, please, and find me where it says cups to gallons. No, turn and find cups to gallons. Find where it says cups to gallons. Where does it say cups to gallons? Adriana? Doesn't say it at all. Man, I hate those guys in town. So, you have some choices that you can make, and there's clearly some people who figured it out. But I'm going to make it simpler for you. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever seen or drawn yourself gallon man. Good. So some of you have seen it before. Many of you have not. Put your thumbs down. Everyone's going to do it right now. If you are using a colored pen that has a thin like tip that you can use to draw with, use your colored pen. If you have one of the fatter markers that doesn't make you draw very well, pick up your pencil. Okay? So now you're going to do a drawing, but we're going to be using a lot of straight lines. Make sure you draw it like I draw it so that it fits in things correctly. First of all, we are going to draw a very large G, but do not draw it until I draw it. We are drawing a G with all straight lines, so watch. It's going to be almost like a perfect rectangle, except I'm going to go halfway up and then in. And that is the letter G. Everyone draw a nice large letter G. Got to be big, otherwise it won't work. Waste of time, draw it much bigger. G stands for gallon. Now this is the United States measurement system, so of course it makes no sense whatsoever. So what is the next smallest unit of measurement for liquids? Andrew? Quarts. And so does anyone know off the top of their head how many quarts there are in a gallon? Oh, we have a whole bunch of people who know. DeAndre?
4.
There are 4. Very good, DeAndre. Do not draw it until I show you how to draw it. We are going to draw 4 letter Q's inside the G. It's going to be a rectangle with a line going through the corner. Then we're going to draw another one right here, and then another one right here, and then another one in the bottom right corner. The shapes are done on purpose. And so now you can easily see that there are 4 quarts in a gallon. Now it does say that on the reference sheet, so that doesn't help us very much. But at least we have a nice, funky looking picture that we could stick in our brain. What is the next smallest unit of measurement for liquids in the United States system? David?
Pint.
A pint. Does anyone know how many pints there are in a quart? Here? There are 2. Watch how we draw the letter P. Watch before you draw it yourself. It's going to be a rectangular letter P, and it's going to look kind of like a flag. And then we're going to put another one right there. I didn't do the best job of drawing them, but you get the idea. And so a rectangular letter P, and then another one here. Now this becomes a more powerful tool, because now I can ask you this question. How many pints are there in 2 quarts? How many pints are there in 2 quarts? Yep, Sven? There's 4. Now I can ask you this question. How many pints are there in a gallon? Natalie? There are 8. You couldn't answer that question before because it's not on the reference sheet. Now we'll take it one final step. What is the smallest unit of liquid measurement within this system? Cameron? Cups. Does anyone know how many cups there are in a pint? Cups in a pint. Adriana?
2.
There are 2. So now we can do curved letters because it's the final letter going in. A letter C and a letter C, letter C, 2 letter C's inside each letter P. And now we've got Gallon Man. And Gallon Man, you can use your brain to take a digital photograph of it. Stick them in your brain, store them there, and on the first moment that the FCAT starts, take your pencil, put it right inside the book, and draw Gallon Man in the corner somewhere, so you have him for the rest of the time. So, now let's look at the question. we have this awesome young woman named Melanie, and she's making punch for the school dance. She's got 6 cups of juice for each of the 8 punch bowls. How many cups does she need? David?
She needs 48 cups.
48 cups. Because she's got 8 punch bowls. 8 punch bowls, 6 cups of juice for each of them. So that is 6 times 8. She needs 48 cups. But now we can use gallon man because the question says how many gallons. So what do we need to do with the 48 to get the correct answer? What do we need to do with the 48 to get the correct answer? I had about 6 people who got it right in the first place, but now everyone should be able to get it right, and I only have 3 people who are catching on. 4 people who are catching on? 5 people. George?
Well, it's for those 16 cups in a gallon, so you do 16 divided by 48.
Well, if you do 16 divided by 48, you will get 0.3 repeated. 48 divided by 16 cups will give you the 3 gallons that she needs. Anyone have any comments or questions on that? Kiara and then DeAndre.
Can you do like gallon and other conversion without gallon?
You could try. I haven't seen other ones yet, but
I've seen this on real.
Yeah, I don't think that's me.
Like a gallon of land, pints of arms and
okay. Well, look, this is one tool, one technique. I'm sure there's many others. If you've seen other ones that work for you, use them. Don't change something just because I told you to do it. If it works, use it. Okay? Are there any comments or questions on this number 4? DeAndre, yes.
Yeah, I think it did some wrong calculations.
Okay. Well, do you see what had to be done now? Does this make sense? Okay, good. So now you're going to get another shot. Everyone turn to day 27. Turn to day 27. Now you've got 8 minutes. You've got 5 questions in 8 minutes. This time it counts. Go ahead and begin. All right. This time it counts. Colored pens up. Here we go. Number 1 is $4.80. Number 2 is 9 centimeters. Number 3 is D. Number 4 is 2.5. Number 5 is G. Write down the percent that you got correct. Give me a thumbs up if you got 80% or better. Good, put your thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up if you improved from the first set to the second. Good, put your thumbs down. All right, now there's one question that I'm going to go over, and then I will open up the floor for any of the other ones. If everyone will look at their number 3. So, we have another fantastic character named Tony. Tony's got a rectangular garden, and she's going to reduce the area of the garden. And she's going to do that by dropping one side, one measurement. How does the new garden compare to the old? So, this can be done mathematically, and it can be done visually. So I want to take a moment to do visual so that you can see what's going on here. So let's start out with a rectangular garden. So here is the garden. Doesn't matter what the rectangle looks like. It's just approximate. And this is 20. I'm sorry, this is 16. And this side is going to be 20. So I'm sorry, I don't think I surveyed this question. Give me a thumbs up if you got this one right. Okay, so I did this a little backwards. I apologize. So George, what did you do to get this right?
Well, I did 20 times 16.
Good.
And I got 220.
Very good.
And then 20 times 12, and I got 240.
Very good.
And then when I did that, I subtracted them both,
Okay.
and I got 80. So what I did with that, and then I did 320 divided by 80, and I got 4, and then I did 40 divided by 80, and then I had 3. And then I noticed that I had 4 out of 3, so I just moved it around.
Okay. Well, good. So that was a little bit of a roundabout way, but you did the right things in the first place. So this is the area of the old. This is the area of the new. So you can view this a number of different ways. You could use percent of change question. You can just view it logically. Wayne, what did you do?
Well, I did what George did, and I also did something.
Go ahead.
I figured out that 12 and 16 are the only things that are changing, so I put 12 over 16 and realized that's 4.
Okay. Very interesting. Good. So that's actually valid when you're changing one side. I mean, one thing you have to understand, and I'm not happy I put this here, let me move this. That's 20. This is the area in here. This is the area of the garden. This is the area. And so the question is when you change one dimension, when you change one of the dimensions, what happens to the area? So let me move this for a second. So right now this is 16. What if I take this and I shrink it down to approximately 12, which means that I'm cutting off 4 of it. So that would be about right there. So right about where the 1 is. So let me shrink it down to about right there. Let me put the area back, and let's take a look at what happens to the area when I cut that segment off. So this this right here was eliminated from the garden. So the question is, what portion of it is left? And if you draw another few lines, like if we drew a line here, and we drew another one here, and another line up here, even though my shading wasn't perfect, you can see that this is basically 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4. And that 1/4 of the garden was taken off, and that 3/4 is left. The mathematical way that George was trying to explain was correct, but it could be a little bit simpler. Just take the new and put it over the old. 240 over 320. Put that in simplest form. 0 cancels the 0. They're both divisible by 8. And you get 3/4. So you have to think through stuff like this, okay? Comments, questions before you get your last shot. Why 18? Okay, 20, yeah. Okay, and you did the 4 because you did 16 minus 12? Where'd you get the 4 from? Okay, good.
I just realized something. So, like, if you do 12 divided by 4, or, yeah, then you get 3, right? And if you do 16 divided by 4, then you get 4.
That's what Wayne was saying.
Oh, so
Is that, I mean, he said it a little bit differently, but yeah, that's what he was saying. He was saying if you put 12 over 16, divide by 4, divide by 4, you get 3/4. So that's what he was pointing at. Okay, very good. All right, last chance for improvement. Day 28. Turn your packet to day 28. Don't do any other day. Day 28 only. And this time you've got 6 minutes for 5 questions. 6 minutes for 5 questions. Go ahead and begin. All right. Colored pens up. Last chance for improvement. Here we go. Number 1 is $5.63. Number 2 is 15 centimeters. Number 3 is C. Number 4 is 5.625. If you rounded, that's fine, as long as you rounded correctly. And number 5 is G. Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up if you got 80% or better. Thumbs up if you got 80% or better. Good, put your thumbs down. Draw a line across your paper. Your homework is countdown, week 6, day 29. And the workbook page A25 to A26. And you have a quiz tomorrow. Yeah. And that will be on countdown 4 through countdown 6. Make sure you review the countdown pages in all your homework assignments. This packet, as I already explained to you, is on my website. So you could go back to the packet and actually look at all of the different pages. As soon as you're done copying down your homework, packets need to be folded carefully back over